All right, and we are live. So hello, everyone. This is Phil from Let Us Talk It team, which is initiated by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So you can check them out in www.cogentibs.com. So they're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, and they wanted to give back to the community. So they thought of sharing knowledge to everyone online through online platform would be a great initiative in terms of fulfilling in terms of giving back to the community. So sharing knowledge for free and also connecting or expanding your network through knowledge exchange would be a great solution and also a great gift to each and everyone. So this is the initiative that we are currently working definitely while we are doing this. Let us talk it free webinars. Actually, we call this Let us talk it Zipinars because we try to zip in two topics in one session. So that lessens the time consumed and maximizes the information shared within a single session. And it's been a while that we have conducted, or I've been here in Let Us Talk at Zipinar, definitely, as a colleague of mine have taken over last time. And going forward, we'll be doing the Let Us Talk at Zipinars once a month. So that ensures that we'll bring you guest speakers with rich experience and knowledge and best practices that we will share definitely in this platform. And I'm excited to introduce the guest speakers to you, but we'll have it one by one. So the first topic that we have is end-to-end MLOps from data to development. So this talk aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the end-to-end MLOps lifecycle, covering everything from data collection and pre-processing to model training and development. And we'll explore the tools, best practices, and architectural patterns necessary to build scalable and reliable ML systems in production environments. And to talk about this topic is staff ML engineer of Adobe Incorporation. And as mentioned, he's a lead machine learning engineer where he architects and builds large scale ML platforms to support foundational model training and enterprise scale. And with over a decade of experience spanning data infrastructure and machine learning platforms, our speaker has successfully led multiple initiatives from concept to production, both high growth startups and Fortune 500 companies. He holds patents and has authored publications in the field of ML frameworks, particularly around user generated content, and has expertise which lies in designing scalable, resilient ML systems and advancing MLOps practices to streamline the entire lifecycle of machine learning applications, and is deeply passionate about building robust infrastructure that powers next generation AI workloads. And our guest speaker is Sudarshan Reddy Kakumano, and he's here with us today. And please help me welcome him. Sudarshan, you can take over.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me. And that's a very elaborate introduction. I haven't realized it's been 10 years. All right. Hi, I'm Sudarshan. Thanks for having me, everyone. I know it's late in some parts of where you're attending from, so yeah, I appreciate that. With that, let's get started. Let me share screen. All right. Yeah, hope my screen is visible.
Yeah,
again, again, today I'm going to introduce you to some of the work I'm passionate about, and hopefully I don't bore anyone, and even better if I inspire someone. It revolves around MLOps, which is relatively a recent discipline, but the foundations of it is similar to any of the software traditional practices that we do. So yeah, I'm an ML engineer here at Adobe. been here more than 6 years now, but been at different organizations before that. At a high level, this is our agenda for the next 30 minutes. I'm going to walk you through the introduction of MLOps, what is a data lifecycle, model deployment at production level, and how do the deployed models are monitored, the feedback loops, retraining on the feedback loop, and the generalized tools and architecture. And I'll make sure to leave some time for Q&A. With that, let's get started. What is MLOps? I mean, we have been here, at least in the recent past few years, we have been hearing all of these buzzwords of foundational model training, Gen AI, MLOps, ML systems. All of this, though popped up new, these concepts are nothing new in the software industry. We do usually have software SDLC, software development lifecycles, CI/CD for production level applications that run in industries. But why is it a separate discipline for ML? Why do we need to have MLOps separate from DevOps in SDLC? Very reason is because ML is just a one-time project. It used to be where researchers just do some experiments from the papers they read, they get some results out of it, and majority of that experiments do not end up in production use cases because of the hardware limitations or some other limitations. But in the recent past few years, with exponential growth in the availability of hardware, availability of use cases, there is an innate need in the use of discipline around how do we deploy these ML applications at production scale. But one may ask, why do we need to have it any different from the traditional backend applications that we host? Well, it's because of primarily how ML models work. And at different layers, basically. Starting with the low level, ML, most of the time, ML applications would require different hardware. A traditional software application can run on a CPU or your Linux boxes, either in cloud or on-prem. But when it comes to the ML applications, majority of them would require some kind of graphical processing unit accelerators like CUDA. We have heard of NVIDIA, who is leader in providing them, or some carriers, or any of the frameworks that would require onboarding these models. And these GPUs are very expensive. So the focus of this ML deployment revolves around optimizing this GPU utilization, either through batch inference or pre-computation of some of our data features. And along with that, the core operations that happen in ML inference are pretty heavy data operations. So the crunch of utilizing all the CPU and GPU is much higher when it compares to a traditional software REST applications. So that would enforce us to have certain kind of discipline around how you deploy your ML model, and hence the talk about why we need ML operations, which is MLOps. So in brief, this is a typical life cycle of how an ML model is deployed, or starting from data collection and pre-processing. So we gather data from multiple sources, we clean it, prepare it for training, we version it, and there's validations on the data. Once the data is gone through the ingestion and the feature enrichment stage, which I'll talk about in the next slides, it's ready for training. So we use multiple frameworks to load the data into training applications like PyTorch, TensorFlow, and we use this data during training in multiple iterations. Usually there is something called checkpointing, where you think the model is actually doing good after certain iterations, and you use that checkpoint to validate on part of your data and see if that checkpoint is good for your production deployment. After going through this series of life cycles, you end up with a checkpoint that you're satisfied with. And the next phase of it is, how do you actually make it production level application, where the heavy MLOps comes into picture. Basically, there is a CI/CD like any other continuous integration and continuous deployment like any other software application. But this specializes in running multiple integration tests on ML-specific use cases, like orchestrating a GPU cluster, running specific models on specific data sets, and see how the outputs of that model looks like. And once this goes to the CI, the CD comes into the picture when you're like any other software application, it is deployed either behind a REST service or a gRPC service, so users can interact with it. Along with it, we also maintain something called a model registry, because models are very frequently iterated, because the checkpoint with the new data, we iterate on the training, we iterate on the checkpoints. So it is very highly important that having a model registry which can be versioned, deployed to the production, so that multiple versions of the models are available for multiple different use cases. So, and last and final is monitoring and retraining on the feedback loops. Why is monitoring important? As I told earlier, because of the very hardware that these ML applications require, it is important to see the optimizations that we can bring into this deployments, specifically around the GPU utilizations, how how long an inference is taking, whether all the cores of this my hardware are occupied or not, and based on the output also the model provides. This can be fed back into the training data to use that as a feedback loop to better your models, basically. All right. Just double clicking into the data lifecycle. Typically, your training data could come from different sources, right? Like it could be your own applications from within the part of your company, or it could be user-generated content like a YouTube video or something that's available publicly. And it could be coming in batches, like one data, like say for at n number of days, or it could be a live streaming data. So depending on the use cases, we have different tools and technologies available to make this data available in the target locations, right? Some of them are like Apache Kafka that we use, or like any ETL applications on-prem or on cloud like AWS, Azure, that are necessary to bring the data from your source locations to your target locations. But that's not the end of the job, right? Like we just have the data in the target locations, but the raw data is only as useful as it is. So there is a lot of data validations that needs to be done on this data. The data validations can be ranging from, no, it's not just about the type checking, hey, whether the particular column or a particular row in this data set is available for me. It doesn't end there, because it's not, again, the key thing that we need to note is garbage in, garbage out. So we send garbage to the model, and the model spits out garbage in results. So it's very important to like spend a lot of time in data validations, data quality checks before it goes into the model training. But what is data quality checks and validations? First thing is usually there's a lot of anomaly detections that happens on the data sets, like how are the outliers in the data set, like whether all the data is following a certain trend. For example, I could say, hey, last month I got 100 images and all of the images are dogs. But this month, there's 50% of the images that are dogs. Why is there is this anomaly shift, or why is there data drift in the batches that I'm getting? So recognizing these kind of data drifts is important to actually see what goes into the model. So there are multiple applications that help us achieve this, and it could be TensorFlow data, it could be regular ETL pipelines using your own traditional databases. And after that, there is data versioning and lineage. It's not only important to send quality data, but it's also important to keep in check of what data is, like what data set is going into the training, so that we can track back to for primarily for reproducibility, and also to track the lineage. For example, if someone asks, hey, whether this asset or this particular row is used in training or not, there's no easy way to say this, because it goes through a lot of infrastructure changes. But having this kind of lineage or visibility into the data that goes into the training is an important system to have. Then comes feature engineering. As I was saying, now you have quality data. Now you have data that's required for your training. But isn't that enough? Like, is that enough? Not really, because a lot of raw data without any insights is not very useful for training. I have an image, but not knowing what the image is of, whether the image is of a cat, whether the image is of a dog, whether there are humans in that picture, all of this information are called features, features of that data. So there is typically in any ML lifecycle, there is feature engineering. Feature engineering is where you extract features from your raw data and make them available in some kind of feature stores. And this feature store is available for model training, either through APIs or database calls. We'll deep dive into like some of the feature engineering use cases, but at a high level, imagine that there is a series of models that run on top of your raw data to extract these features out of the raw data and store these features into a database and make this called feature store and make this feature store available for training during the iteration loop. All right. Yeah, model development and experiment tracking. So now that we have all the features in the feature store, I'm not going to deep dive into the training part of it, but at a high level, we will have an intermediate layer called data loader, where data loader helps you take these features from the feature store, make them available for training in the iteration loops. So when the model development is happening, we also need to track what data is being used in that particular iteration. So we log parameters like your loss function or your metrics that each iteration is doing in certain frameworks like weights and biases or Comet ML or your regular Splunk logs if it fits. Then comes, so once we have this final checkpoint, then comes the CI/CD, which is basically, again, I was saying, making sure your applications are production grade. The main difference between this traditional CI/CD and the MLOps CI/CD is that the data and the performance validation. In traditional CI/CD, the pipeline mostly handles the code changes, maybe the compilation changes, and it runs tests, deploys applications in your servers. In MLOps, we need not only do those, along with those, we also need to track versions of the data. We also need to track and train the model versions, or also validate the model drift as the model is being inferenced on. Also evaluate the performance of the model, like how the model is doing over time, see the accuracy scores while the inference is being run. And also, not only that, but also manage model artifacts, because the model artifacts are like unlike we have like jar applications in in Java world. Your model applications are usually like very heavy, sometimes even downloaded from external sources. You have your own storage archives to like load the checkpoints. So having to enable this safe rollbacks on a certain model checkpoint becomes more critical when we are using like heavy models. So all of this goes into the CI/CD applications. And again, the automation loops that I was mentioning are resource intensive because of the GPU hardware that are usually used in this CI/CD pipelines. Okay. So sure, now that I have CI/CD, I've deployed my model, but what then, right? Sure, now it's kind of analogy to regular REST applications where there is an endpoint here, but behind an endpoint, there is a model that's living that can give you results. But it's not only that, your model application can be of different kinds. Sometimes we need batch processing where, hey, I have this 1 day's worth of data. I just want to do a one-time inference to see some aggregate reports or some anomaly detection on top of all the data. That's one kind of use case. Other is more real-time use cases where I have this continuous fraud detection models, like where I'm swiping a credit card and I need to know whether it's a fraud or not. Right. So these are more real-time applications that would require queuing systems in front of them or caching layers in front of them to enable that fast processing. There are a lot of tools that help achieve this. There's one KF serving. There is frameworks like Triton for high throughput inference and high performance, and there is queues like Redis, Kafka. All of these tools and technologies are being leveraged in today's world to enable that caching and queuing for high throughput models. I think I touched this briefly. Basically, serving infrastructure, it's exactly same as how we deploy a software model, sorry, software applications. It could be either behind a REST endpoint or a gRPC endpoint for high performance. And like any other thing, we Dockerize this. Docker is basically your contained environment where you have all the dependencies that are required for that model. And these Dockers are deployed on distributed setting like Kubernetes uh, on or Kubernetes or your ECS instances. Uh, yeah. Next comes the feedback and monitoring. So there is a concept called active learning. Active learning is something where you basically strategically select the data that is actually already inferenced on the model and use the data to send it back into the training so your model understands better. So all of this is required so that because there's limitations in the data that we could use, or maybe because the output of the model itself can be used as a feedback to the model. So with this active learning, the added advantage is that you get labeled data. Like for example, there is a model that differentiates between uh, a fruit, an orange, and an apple, right? Like, and if the model is predicting something, and we put a label on top of it, and that label is being sent again to the training data, the model understands now. Over the time, the model evolves like how it understands an apple versus how it understands an orange. So that is important infrastructure piece to have for certain models. So the continuous monitoring and the data drift that we get out of the model outputs and sending that back as part of the training data is one other piece that is part of MLOps. So at a high level, we discussed this, right? Like there is data ingestion. So basically your raw data comes from point A to your target locations. It could be either live streaming, it could be either batch processing. So here I mentioned some of the tools that we could use to achieve this. And the second is data processing. Data processing is basically feature enrichment. Like you can extract features out of this raw data either through a regular querying on top of the raw data or running more ML applications on top of the raw data, like human detection. How many people are there in this image, or how many tokens of are there in this sentence? And then feature store. All these extracted feature stores are schematized and stored in the central locations that can be accessed by the training loop called feature store. And then comes the ML training and data loader. Your data loader helps prefetch this pre-computed data and make it available for training. So we are not wasting GPU resources waiting for inferencing that data on the CPU while you're training the model. So the data loader prefetches this and makes it available for training. And then once we are satisfied with the model checkpoint, then comes the model serving part where we have a checkpoint. We have a base Docker that can be deployed on a Kubernetes service behind a REST endpoint and adding it caching and queuing, as I was mentioning, if needed, depending on whether it's a batch inference or whether it's the live online inference. And then comes the monitoring, where we continuously monitor GPU utilization, we continuously monitor the throughput, the concept drift, and the data drift that is coming out of the models. But again, all these layers, I think this is all something I talked about. All these layers are important to have the scalable MLOps. One is the data layer, the feature layer, the training layer, the serving layer, and the monitoring layer, finally. But what are the key challenges? Like, so is everything figured out with when it comes to MLOps? No, not really. Because the data and model drift is one of pain points. Because as the time passes, the model matures and the model output drifts from what it has been. So, and same with the data. Like you get batches of this data. Sometimes it is accurate, sometimes it's not, and it impacts the model accuracy that is running in the production. So monitoring and continuous monitoring of and detecting these outliers in the data and this trend changes in the data is kind of challenge actually. And along with that, reproducibility and governance around the data. Uh, you might have heard of a lot of governing laws around what data can or cannot be used, especially regarding GDPR, HIPAA, and I think it's called CCPA in California. So all of these laws enforce certain kind of restrictions on data and the trail that needs to be put behind a particular data. So when user opts out, hey, I don't want my data to be used in ML training, how are we enforcing that? How are systems making sure that that is the case? And if some customer asks, I want to know whether this particular row is trained for this particular model. So that is called lineage. So implementing lineage through in this entire system is a very challenging problem. And there are systems that can help us do this, but even today there's it's kind of being worked on. And I talked about GDPR, so basically making sure your data is your regulatory data is being deleted, always adhering to the rules and laws of the state. And cost optimizations. As I said, GPUs are very high intensive cost infrastructure. So monitoring the usage and optimizing your models, optimizing your data, optimizing your inference on top of this hardware is going to be a critical use case. So these are the takeaways. So one, sure, the MLOps. Now you might understand like why MLOps is required from a traditional DevOps and why it is important. And second, we need to embrace this MLOps systems as the next few years or the past few years have been like more ML applications in real world. It becomes more and more important to have more platform level stability than having a better model or better checkpoints. And continuous monitoring on this model usage, data drifts, and the overall infrastructure health. And fourth is iterating on the feedback of model, what it provides, whether it's user feedback, who is using the models, or whether it's the model output itself that we get labeled and send it back into the training. And what are the next steps? Next steps is basically if someone is interested in this area, I would encourage them to see how MLOps is being implemented at many other organizations. Maybe even try some kind of like pilot implementations of deploying a very low-end CPU or GPU model if available, and see how you can actually interact with the model either through endpoints and maybe even like try and fine-tune a model with some open source. There are like tons of open source data sets. If someone's interested, I can share those that you could actually use to train a model or fine-tune an existing open source model. And yeah, that's about it. So overall, I think we discussed the data lifecycle, the deployment, the training, the CI/CD, and the continuous monitoring systems. So hopefully this high level and brief talk about MLOps is useful, and yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful information, Darshan. So, it's to be honest, it's not my line of expertise, so it's hard for me to generate questions to follow.
Mhm,
But as the presentation goes, it's very excellent and clear. So you have
mhm.
covered as much as you could with the actual time duration.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that was perfectly timed. Thank you. But okay, we have a question on chat. Are
Mhm.
there situations where deploying a simpler model is better than using a more complex one?
Uh, yes, that's a good question. Yes, there are certain use cases where sometimes the complex model is more actually hurting the outputs than using a simpler model. Uh, Mainly in use cases such as your like your hardware utilization. Some complex models need certain kind of hardwares like and distributed checkpointing. For example, I don't know, I'm just taking an example out of thin air. Maybe your GPT-5 checkpoint is heavier and would require distributed loading of the checkpoint on multiple GPUs, where there could be mini versions that could achieve the same level of, if not same level of accuracy, maybe depending on the use case of what you have, you could have a much lower end or a smaller model which is highly efficient and can be loaded on single GPU or single GPU core that could be deployed in real world use cases. Yeah, it's a trade off between the accuracy that you need, the processing time, and again the cost.
All right. Thank you. I hope that takes care of that question, Asish. Thank you for bringing that one up. And we have one from YouTube. And yeah, this is on a trend, definitely. Now that generative AI is everywhere, how has it changed the way you work with MLOps?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, generative, like when it comes to platform, it's altogether the same. Like, of course, like we started thinking about how like using this mode feedback loops, RLHF, which is basically uh, uh, the kind of like feedback that comes from the model itself, and you label that and use it in your training. But in when it comes to generative AI, what changed a lot in how we think about MLOps is the constant change in how the uh, model performance and models are deployed. Like before we can get to a certain like end-to-end infrastructure on a certain model, there might be a new model that is released by some paper, like because it's a very rapidly changing field, and we need to evolve with that change. So whatever we are trying to build, what we keep in mind is we are not just building for this particular model or this particular use case. What we are trying to build is something a longer term. So we always try to think of in that sense when it comes to like adapting to the Gen AI. Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. So that is from Sunny, who's watching a live broadcast on YouTube. All right. Thank you so much. So, any other additional questions from our attendees? And while we are at it, while we are waiting, anything you'd like to promote? You're currently, what are you currently working on? Or,
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll see what I cannot share, but yeah, I'll try to be safe on the safer side. So yeah, I'm an ML engineer on Adobe Firefly. Firefly is basically uh, our suite of Adobe foundational models, which could be text to image, text to video. That I mean, it's public right now, but all of these models are actually integrated into Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, which is our proprietary. Like you would have heard of Photoshop, Illustrator, all of these technologies that we deliver. So we are actually trying. My particular role is to try and build the data infrastructure to make this foundational model training happening.
all right. Thank you. And
I think we have a question on the chat. Uh,
yes,
how to
from
ensure,
Asish.
yeah, how to ensure model security when deploying to the cloud? Um, if I'm trying to understand by model security, if he means like like DDoSing from some external sources, or like maybe I'll try to infer something from the question. So like yeah, this is typical software. Like this, when it's deployed to the cloud, it's like any typical software infrastructure. So we have of course all of the deployed infrastructure is behind certain like VPC, which is a private cloud, and we have like gateway infrastructure like API gateway where the certain requests are routed to certain models, and there is authorization, there is authentication, all sorts of uh, uh, and there is API key if you are using some kind of open source technology. So all of these are applied to the same ML deployed models as well, but there's no difference there.
Okay. I hope that takes care of that, Ashish. Alrighty. So, I guess we've covered enough information. Definitely. If do let me know. Do let us know. Let us talk to team if you need further or additional or a different session of this same topic or discussion, and we'll definitely schedule it with Sidarshan in a different time and schedule. So if you're interested, definitely you send a connection invite to Siddharshan on LinkedIn, and he's very approachable and responds almost instantly. So you can check his updates there. You can learn more from his work if you send an invite and a connection message as well. All right. So that takes care of the first topic. And thank you so much, Sudarshan, for delivering that
Thank you.
wonderful discussion. And we'll be moving to the next part of the Let Us Talk It topic. All right. So for the second topic is about power persona and personal presence. So how to own every room you enter. And because your vibe tells you your story, like your presence seals the deal, and also you can build a personal brand that speaks louder than words and shows up before you do. So for this topic, we have invited an image consultant, soft skills coach, speaker, and storyteller, and also helps individuals elevate their confidence inside and out, being a coach. And having a signature blend of storytelling, strategy, and style. And she empowers people to make lasting first impressions and shows up as the best version of themselves. And whether they're walking into a boardroom, a classroom, or stage, and also has led impactful workshops for diverse age groups, curated branding experiences, and is the voice behind inspiring conversations on personal presence and purpose. So please help me welcome Purva Mehta as our second guest for today. Hi, Purva. Thank you for joining us in. How are you?
I'm great. And thank you, Phil. Thank you, Sudarshan, for giving us such knowledgeable information. And Phil, thank you for inviting me as a speaker today. Thank you for to your company, and thank you to all the viewers for coming in and logging in and uh, trying to get more information.
All right. Yes, definitely. And we are very pleased to have you in today's session. And so this is an interactive type part of the Let Us Talk It session. So anyone on the attendees on chat, you can also put your questions or interact. And however you may do it, you can raise your hand as well. And for those who are watching live, please do put your questions on a comment. I can definitely read it and yeah, bring it over to the live section. And first off, Purva, so I have already introduced a little bit about your background, but what exactly do you do or currently, and where are you attached, or something significant that you are working as of the moment?
Yes, thank you that you've given me. It was quite elaborate. So I am a personality development as well as a confidence and communication coach. So confidence, according to me, helps you achieve everything in life. You can achieve any kind of success if you have the confidence. Then comes your communication. You have the confidence, but you are not able to communicate, or you don't know the right way to communicate. That is where there will be a lot of roadblocks. And I help clients develop that confidence and communication and work with their personality, not just the outer personality like clothing or body language. Help them rewire their brains, rewire their mindset, because that is the most important thing, to help them rewire their mindset.
Mm,
So I
in,
conduct one-on-one workshops, I conduct group workshops, and I help them. I give them one-on-one mentorship and coaching, and help them grow and cross their roadblocks that they are facing.
wow, such a very passionate line of work that you have chosen. Definitely, it actually needs that not just intelligence, but also like skill and patience and empathy towards the person you interact with, right? So, and it was also mentioned in your background that you do branding as well, and like everyone goes online right now, and branding is one of the most important thing. Like, what is your view on personal branding?
So if you don't brand yourself, someone else has already branded you. What I mean is that today, if we ask our colleagues, our friends, our family, they already see us in a particular light. Personal branding is that intentional impression you choose to leave behind. It's not just how you look, but also what you radiate and the words you choose. So, wouldn't you want that when you enter a room, people remember you as something? Everybody wants that, right? So, we see today so many influencers, so many media people, so many businessmen, businesswomen. They, when they talk, we expect a particular reaction out of them, or we expect that they will behave in a particular way. Like, for example, when Mr. Amitabh Bachchan comes on stage, we would expect that he talks with a certain poise, he walks in a certain way, he behaves in a certain way. So, in today's world, people want to connect with you. They just don't want to meet you. Like in olden days, when business used to happen, it used to happen through word of mouth. Let's say your colleague has told you, you can uh, you can do business with this particular company. It's not enough in today's day and age. We all need to connect. We all need to understand the vibe of the opposite person. And that is how our trust in today's world builds in. Okay. It all happens through conversations, through meetings, as well as through your people check our Insta profile and all of that. And I would just like to mention that it takes only 35 seconds for us to form our first impression. Now, did anybody know that it takes only 35 seconds? So only in 35 seconds you are judged whether you are appropriate for this particular role or this particular post or no. So even when people want to choose the right partner, maybe it is just those 35 seconds where it creates that impression, and you are ready to say yes or a no. So that is how your personal branding is created. So we all already have a brand, but let's say if thoughtfully we curate our persona, our personality, and we decide that this is how we want to move, this is how we want to talk, this is how we want to dress up, appear, and show our confidence. So that is what is called personal branding. It is an intentional approach towards our personality, where we are not leaving things to chance, but we are creating or curating that impression where uh, where we are more confident and we are clear, as well as giving others a clear picture about ourselves. So it is nothing, I would say, but creating more value for about ourselves. So that is
Exactly.
what is personal branding.
Yes. I remember the speaker mentioned last time, like, this is also like a personal branding, because like you were about to be referred by your friend, and then we'll ask you back, like, what is it that you do again? So they forget what you actually do, or like where you are actually good at. So you cannot be networked through the word of mouth because you miss the personal branding.
Yes. So it
Exactly.
helps you to connect better. It helps the other person to trust you better, and it helps to just grow and be more confident. So personal branding helps you to move from confusion to clarity, I would say.
Mhm. So yes, perfect. And again, we're opening the this question and answer through the attendees. Again, if you have additional inputs, feel free to raise your hand or put in the question on the chat section. All right, so feel free to interact with our speaker as well. So you shared about the real benefits and importance of personal branding. Like, can you share like a real life example where like there was a downfall because you missed the personal like the personal branding, or there was a success, like yeah, a breakthrough.
So there are many instances which I have come across my for my clients. For example, there was a yoga teacher. Now, this
Mhm.
yoga teacher was extremely good with her work, but she couldn't come out as any kind of a brand. She did not have a personality. She would dress up in a very she would hide behind her clothes, I would like to say. and she would, her Instagram profile also didn't speak of anything. And when she would meet a person also, she was not able to express that she is a yoga instructor and how she is going to benefit her clients. So when she came to me, I helped her understand her strengths, weaknesses, all those kind of things, and I helped her her portray that side of hers which was more comfortable. And I also gave her confidence coaching where she learned how to express herself in a better way. So now she tells me that when she meets her clients, she says that I teach women yoga in 20 minutes. So this has become a tagline. And also her dressing, I have made her change, and her Instagram profile I've made her change, because of which she comes out more confident and she's been able to get more clients. Now, there was another client of mine who was extremely confused. She was a homemaker, but she was extremely confused what she wanted to do, and whether she should join her husband's business, whether she should start her home catering business, or she should join an NGO. So I worked with her. I helped her understand her own personality, her own brand, and after doing that, after a couple of sessions and after going through the whole process, she understood that her personality is not, she's not somebody who would like to join her husband. So now today she has joined a NGO, and she's working, she's joined a NGO, and she's also a wonderful homemaker, and she's very happy with that. So, these are the examples that I have to give you, that how much personal branding helps you showcase that side of you which you want to show, which you are most comfortable in.
Thank you. What a wonderful example, definitely. This is this is for like for those who are just starting, for startups. Like, what is the best way that you can uh brand yourself when you are just starting up, like just working on something. Let's say you are on like the perfume business or furniture business, or like whatever stuff you'd like to start up on, and like you don't have any background or attachment to like large companies, so you're just really from zero. Like, what is the best suggestion or idea you can share in doing a personal brand?
So the first thing is to understand the values of your company or your business. So what do you stand for? What is your mission? What is your what do you stand for? What are the core values? Who are your customers? How would you like to build an instant trust on people, right? Or what do you stand for? It is very important to have that kind of a personal clarity where you are clear as to and how you want to project yourself. So, and it's very important to understand your core values and then move forward.
I see. So, are there instances for like you have been coaching like different people? Were there instances that their like core values has been opposed in some situations? Like, how were they able to maneuver the actual opposition?
So, sorry, I didn't get your question. The core
Like
values were,
the core values of the personal brand was questioned in some sort, like uh maybe opposed or something, right? Like it's
so
questioned.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure how to place the question.
yeah. So when you do your personal brand and you understand what you stand for, obviously there are a lot of things which the brand doesn't stand for and the brand refuses. So I have another example where a client would come and say that why don't you give me a basically there have been many instances where people have come and they say, and they don't want to associate, or they stand up. They said they are able to set their boundaries, and they are, especially for the people who start up new, they are very much tempted to take whatever comes their way. But
Yes.
when you build a personal brand, you are able to say no, you're able to say stop, and you're able to say no, this is not what I can do, because it will not help me in the long run.
Mm, I see. So you have to stand your ground when you have established your core value. So
Yeah,
rather than just take anything that goes your way. So
yes.
that makes sure that you stay true to your brand. All right, got it. Definitely. So let's see. So that takes care of that. And also, can you share a little bit of what you have mentioned that you do one-on-one sessions? Like what actually happens during those times?
So when I do my one-on-one session, I discover my clients' unique personality codes, refine their visual, verbal, and digital presence. I create a go-to strategy that feels natural but powerful. So when I take one-on-one sessions, I help them understand what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their which side of theirs would they like to show, right? And what they shouldn't be showing, or what they are not comfortable showing, or what they are not, what the brand doesn't stand for. So basically, I according to me, you don't need a PR team. You don't need a whole PR, but you need a good coach that can help you maneuver your what is there in your mind and help you move from confusion to clarity. And that is where I come in.
Mm, I see. That's perfect. And can you share as well where they can check out the services for the sessions, or how can they take advantage of that, or how they can inquire?
So they can connect with me on a one-on-one personal call uh, on my number, or they can connect with me on Instagram. My Insta ID is purvamehta.imageconsultant, and that is these are the two places that they can connect with me.
Mhm. All right. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And I was just reading Priyanka's chat. I will read it to everyone. So nowadays, great conversations can make a big difference for everyone, but they also need the right amount of confidence, because overconfidence can sometimes cause misunderstandings or be taken the wrong way. Yes, that's true. I agree.
Yes, that's absolutely right, Priyanka. Because any overconfidence or underconfidence, both of them are absolutely not required, and they are not very healthy, because as I said, you make your first impression within the first 35 seconds, and that is the time you have to show your, I mean, you need to be most authentic, and you need to be yourself. If you are anything but yourself, it's not going to work. And as I've shared before, these days people are looking to make a connect. They don't want to just work with you. They don't just buy your products and services. They actually invest in you, they invest in your confidence, and they want to trust you. And they will do business only if they trust you. And that can happen only when you show your real and authentic self.
Yes, agree to that. Definitely. And I'll take this advantage. I'll take advantage of this session definitely. So, personal branding also takes place in landing a job, right? So,
Of
if
course.
you don't brand yourself properly, you cannot get any. So, maybe for those who just graduated or moved out of their college journey and has been complaining that they do not know the next steps and no experience at all, definitely, right? So can you share some inputs on how they'd be able to brand themselves without any experience or confidence just yet?
So the first step is to understand what are your core values, what are your beliefs. Once you understand what are your beliefs, what exactly can you do, or you cannot do, you will exactly understand whether you will not mind being a leader, you will not mind being a follower. Both of them are equally important, and both, even if you are a leader, even if you are a follower, you need to be comfortable with that position. Right. I've come across so many instances, students coming out from colleges, and then they directly sometimes want to take a leadership role when they themselves are not convinced that this is the role I'm happy about. And then they take up that particular role, and then they are all the time cribbing. Whereas some of them who are being followers, they are not happy as well, lot of times, because they feel they are meant for leadership position. So it is very important to understand what do you stand for, what are your values. Also, how's your dressing? Everybody needs to work on their dressing. Third, very important thing is non-verbal communication. So, do you know that non-verbal communication is more important and more impactful than verbal communication? Your words have only 7% impact in the
Hmm.
whole conversation, but it is mostly your non-verbal communication which which gives an impact. So it's very important to work on your posture, the way you are sitting, the way you're standing, talking. The other important thing is eye contact, which I see that so many students who are coming up with jobs are not able to do. They are not able to maintain a good eye contact. So that is another thing. And uh, and your tone of words, your choice of words. So all these things are very, very important to maintain your confidence. But the most important thing is your mindset, that how much are you ready to work on yourself, how much are you ready to rewire your brain, and how are you going to do it. So these are very important things, and everybody should work on themselves. It's like that. If you have to grow, you have to work on yourself. So that is what anybody can do, personal branding with a good coach, and should be ready to make changes in their lives.
Exactly. I totally agree. And almost everything, and definitely, especially the mindsets. You have to rewire and change your mindset. So it's really wonderful inputs. We have Sanjay. Almost everyone is online now. So, what are some easy ways to keep your personal brand the same everywhere?
What are some of the ways to keep your personal brand same everywhere? That is the question, right?
Yes.
So it's very, as I just mentioned, it is very important to understand who you are and what do you stand for. So I just gave, so for example, I just gave an example of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So whenever he comes on stage, we really expect a consistent behavior from him, the way he will talk, the way he will dress, the way he will. So it is very important to keep practicing what you believe in, and keep going within yourself and understanding whether this is what is making you really comfortable. So all of us have two sides. One is a good side, and one is, I would say, a not so good side. I'm not saying a bad side, but it is something which maybe we are not very comfortable in. So how many times have we thought over that when we are going out, we want to show a particular side? And there is nothing wrong in showing your best behavior, right? When we go out, meet people, we any which ways show our best behavior. So it is very important to all the time show that particular best behavior, and whatever our weaknesses are, keep working on them. So that is how we will be able to maintain um, a behavior all the time. Then it just becomes a part of us, right? We are not faking it. We are just trying to improve, and we are trying to maintain it.
That's true. Definitely. So, wow, such a wonderful inputs. Thank you so much for that, Purva. And yes, we are close to ending today's webinar. So I'd like to encourage anyone from the attendees to add inputs or questions on the chat. And for those watching online as well, make sure you do add. So you might miss this opportunity to ask questions to Purva. If in case you do, you can definitely reach her to her Instagram to do one-on-one coaching. So the details are shared previously. So this session will be uploaded on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So make sure to rewatch if you missed the details. Or okay, are you able to share it again? Purva, for those who might have missed your contact information.
Yes, I'll share my contact number in the chat box so anybody can connect with me. Yeah, this is my number.
All right. So, should I prompt it on the recording?
Yeah, and my Insta profile also.
All right. So, you can reach Purva on 982-045-5696. What's your area code? So, area code is 91.
Yeah,
Okay.
09.
Yeah. You can add her on WhatsApp. Definitely. Okay. Anyone from the attendees? Any additional questions? I'm all good with the questions. Definitely, everything was very clear with what it is about personal branding and how to uh, have personal presence and be consistent in anywhere you go. Definitely. Okay. So if nothing else, so from YouTube, great session. It was so informative that I can hardly take it all in. So that's from Sunny. So yes, definitely from both speakers. So I guess we can conclude today's session. All right. So I'd like to give thanks in behalf of Let Us Talk It team to our guest speakers. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to do a session today with Let Us Talk It um, free webinar. Uh, I know this consumed your time, definitely, but this is a great, valuable discussion that we can post or others can share as well to anyone. And uh, this session is open to anyone in any part of the world. You can take advantage of the information being shared here. So, hope this inspires you and also get you up on your feet if you need inspiration and also motivate you in one way or another. So, we are looking forward to share further knowledge and expertise from guest speakers around the globe. So we'd like to invite you again in a following Wednesday since we're doing it once a month as of the moment. So next month, next Wednesday, we will be bringing you two new guest speakers and two new topics. And if you wish to get updates on this free sessions or free discussions, you can check it out on our LinkedIn page, which is Let Us Talk It. So that's let and then US and then talk and then IT. So you can definitely follow the page. And also, we'd like to encourage you to share this educational recordings or sessions for the others as well to keep and take advantage with. All right. So again, thank you, Purva. Thank you, Sudarshan, for being with us today. And for those who have attended here in Zoom and on YouTube and on live section, thank you so much. And for those who have missed this session, you can check out the recorded one on our page on YouTube and on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. All right. So see you again next Wednesday next month. And thank you so much again for joining. And enjoy the rest of your day, your night, and yeah, your afternoon from anywhere you are. Take care as always. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.